welcome to part 2 of the video. We're going to be building the new perfectly wrapped project kit, and I'm also trying out a new bit of kit so I can see the video that we're filming on my iMac screen, so hopefully things won't be out of shot for you and they'll all be the right way up. So I'm going to show you how to build one of each of the things that are contained within the kit. You actually get more than one, but this should give you an idea of how to get going. So the first thing I've got is the bag. So if I flick back to the front, so it's this bag here that we're going to be doing, so a big hooray to you. And I've got the coordinating stamp set, the perfectly wrapped stamp set here as well. So we've got all of that. And I've got all my things set up, so hopefully we'll have everything to hand. So the tips that it gives you are to firstly curl the bag before you stick it down. So I'm just going to put it under a little bit of stress like this. And it also tells you to do the folds. So I don't know if you can see on the video that they're all pre-marked. So there's one there. And I'll just do these ones lightly because they don't go all the way down the bag, but just to make them a little bit crisper. There we go, so that's all of my folds done. And then the first thing it says to do is to remove your side adhesive and fold it into a tube. So we'll do that first. Like this. And what I've done, when I've adhered it as a tube, I don't know if I bring this up to the camera there, there's actually a fold line just here. So I have made my side of my tube match that fold line. And then I stuck it down. And then the next thing it says to do is to remove your adhesive on the bottom and fold inside and secure. So let's see if we can work this out. So firstly I'm going to fold into the V, which is scored there. I'm just going to fold this V in as well before we stick it down. And what I will just show you on the instructions, so if you look at the back page of the instructions, it shows you here on figure 5 folding into the tube, and then it shows you how you should fold it inwards. So we want to make, making sure I've got this right, I think I've got it the wrong way around. Yeah, so fold your 2 triangles in, like that. Okay, so you can see that there's a fold all the way around, so you want that to be flat. Then you want to fold in the side with no adhesive last, because you can see there's a little bit of adhesive on the top there. So fold that one down first, fold that one down second, and then if you pop your hand inside, you can make that all come out and stick together. There you go, so that all sticks like so. And then you've got these nice little gussets in the side here for in a minute as well. So I'll pop that back to the side. Actually, just while I've got the instructions, I'll draw your attention to a couple of things. So when you get your instructions, it tells you what your kit includes. It gives you a few hints and tips. So it tells you that they use fast fuse and mini glue dots. So I'll include those in the blog post, which I'll have a link to under this video. And it tells you about score lines and to always fold the score lines to make them easier to work with. It tells you about the additional products that they've used as well. So that's the perfectly wrapped stamp set, which we have ready and waiting here. the Emerald Emery, Mint Macaroon, Peekaboo Peach, Tangerine Tango stamp pads, which I've got laid out here. The basic black archival pad, Fast Fuse, mini glue dots and glue gun, which we also have ready here. And it also tells you the coordinating colours. So if you wanted to make a card to go with it, or you wanted to switch some of the elements out, it tells you what colours you want to work with. And it gives you some hints and tips for each thing as well. So we've assembled that. So we're going to pop our handles on. These are our handles. And you also get some stickers, which are these, to pop your handles on the inside. So just going to stick this on like this and stick it on the inside. If you can see, ooh, not quite far enough. So I'll probably start that about 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch on the inside. Try so you can see that in the camera. And then fold it in half, and you want to do the same on the other side. It's easy when you're doing it on camera. So that's one side. And let's just try it a different way. So I'm going to stick, this time I'm going to stick these on first. Yeah, that's much easier. So there's a tip we picked up along the way. So when you stick these on, put the cardboard piece like this on the end first, and then you'll find it's much easier to tuck it in rather than trying to fit your hand in afterwards. Make sure these are roughly the same length. Stick them even on the inside so you can actually carry it like that, like a bag. I'll make sure they're stuck down. So I'm going to pop these just to the side for now so I don't lose them. And now we want to do our banner and finish off our bag. So I'm going to get the picture to follow as well. So this is what we are going to be doing. Where are we? Here. You can see this is the baker's twine, and there's some gold dots to stick on. Now it does tell you how much to cut, so it says to cut 48 centimetres of the white twine. So I'm going to fold that off, and this is the grid paper, so it's got all my dimensions on it, so that's 40 and 8. And then you want 20 sets of gold circles. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. So what that I'll do is cut those so I don't have to keep counting. So that's 40 gold circles. I'll pop that back in my kit bag. And then all you need to do, I'm just going to borrow my silicone mat here, and I'm going to pop my gold baker's twine on, and then you turn it over, and you stick another one on the other side, like so. And you want to do that all the way along. So I'm going to stick one at either end, and then I'm going to work my way inwards so they're even. So that's 2. And then I'm going to fold it in half. So half is roughly there. Here. And then just keep sticking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out one half. So we want 10 on each side. So that's 3, 4, 5. You don't have to do as many. This is just following the instructions which is you want to not go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I've only fitted 8 on. And then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to stick them on the other side. And they're actually really sticky. I'm really surprised. So they're sticking to me. And this is a great idea. You could actually make these yourself in any colour. I can see a few of these coming up. And you could maybe use the thick baker's twine with some sparkles. But I think also I'm really pleased with the bag. It's a nice size to put a gift into. And with my girls having their baptisms coming up, I think we'll use one of these with maybe a more baptism style bag, tag on it rather, for them. So that's one side done. And then now we'll do the other side. So now we need, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we fitted 8 on again. Okay, and we'll switch those over as best as we can. Stick the circles again on the other side. This is something the silicone mat is great for. If I had this on my grid paper, it would stick and it would pull bits up, whereas you can see with the silicone mat, it doesn't stick. But I can see my glue gun dripping on the table, so we'll put it straight back underneath in a second. Absolutely love this. Didn't think it would, as you know, I'm not a big fan of the baker's twine, but I do love these. And I can see my girls, or Maddie at least, having really great fun making her own version of this. Right, so let's pop that to the side, and I'm just going to pop my silicone mat back under my glue gun. So we've done that. We need, so we've done repeat until the 20, our flag banner. So it says cut 38 centimetres of white baker's twine and fold flag stickers over twine and repeat until there are 11 flags. So again, we want 38 centimetres. So we'll use our grid paper. I don't know if you can see, there you go. So actually along the bottom, there are centimetre markers just as there are up this side, and they go all the way up to 40. So they're really great to use. And if you're in the States, the instructions also give you it in inches, because I know your grid paper is in inches. And it says to use 11 flags. So these are all, oh, these are actually self-adhesive. So I'm just going to, and they are scored in the middle, even better. So I'm just going to, that's 1, I'll take 1 from each one. 2, put 1 on the other end. There's 3. So one of each there, so that'll take us up to 5. And we'll put this one roughly the same as the other one. I'm going to put 1 in the middle. Okay, and we'll get a black and put it somewhere near here. So I'm just putting it all the twine all the way into the fold and then just sticking it down. So that's 6, so this is 7. I'm up to 8. And there's 9 and I think we'll leave it at that because we're fairly full, and we'll put that back into our thing. So we've now made our banners. So we're going to adhere the banners to the bag, and it says let one end of the gold foil banner drape down the front of the bag, and then stamp your tag and attach with a gold binder clip. So if I bring the picture in so you can see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take my, and I've left a little bit of an end, so I'm going to tie this round if I can. Or not. Where's my little gold piece? Okay, so I haven't left enough for either of these. That'll teach me to read ahead. So there's a tip. So when you do this, make sure you leave enough at one end of your thread to be able to tie these around here. Now, as I've got my hot glue here, I'm going to stick just a little dab on the inside because that will hold them nicely. Tiny little dot, and I'm going to take the two ends that I just put together, or not. That's it. I'm going to wrap that around like that, and I'm just going to stick them into the hot glue. There we go. That's the great thing with hot glue. And it says to drape them around and I'm going to stick another little dab of hot glue inside just to stick those in. Got a nice long thread of it. And this is, you'll notice, actually a wireless hot glue gun. It's a battery operated, and of course it's pink. The only thing I would say with it is great for little craft projects. If you're doing something more heavy duty, it's not that great because it doesn't get the glue that hot. But what I do like about it is I can put it on the table, it's portable, but just give it a good probably 10 to 15 minutes to heat up before you try and use it. I'm just going to glue all of that under that handle. Oh, excuse me. Crash, bang, wallop. If you wake the baby up, who is actually 8 months today. I can't believe where the time has gone. There we go. So you can see that our banners cross all the way around. It's really pretty. And that's nicely stuck in with our glue gun. So now we're going to do our tag here. So a big hooray to you. I'm just going to pop that to the side for now. Now these actually come pre-done. So you've got the banner, and we want an unscored one. And we need our plastic boxes. Excuse me while I reach over and get those. Okay, we've got those. And we're going to stamp up. So they have used, by the looks of it, Emerald Envy, our basic black, and I think probably Peekaboo Peach. But you could use any colours, as I say, that you wanted. And now we're going to use, so these are new photopolymers. Now this, the new photopolymers actually go straight on the side with the black writing. And these sheets, I do actually keep and use for all sorts of acetate pieces, so they're really great to keep to the side. So we want a hooray, we want a to you, a big, oh, pick that one up in a second, and we want our spots as well. You can see my glue gun is going everywhere. I'm going to pop all these out the side just for the moment. And I'm going to grab this one, let's grab a couple, we'll see which ones work the best. So hooray, I think will fit on there, yep. A big, right, start with that. Let's take that one out of the way. And because they're new photopolymers, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Scrub. As one of my sides has actually come loose, I'm going to take that out. And I'm just going to give these a quick wipe so I get a nice impression. So the first thing we want to do is actually our spots along the top. I think they'll fit on there. No. Let's find a slightly bigger one. There we go. So that is a D block if you are following along. So we're going to stamp that. And because these are photopolymers, we can see through them. So no need to get our Stampin' Majig out. So that's that one. And then we want a big, actually I'm going to do my hooray first to make it a bit easier to stamp where the bits around it. So there's my hooray. And we'll pop our black away because I will put fingerprints everywhere. Then we want a big. And again we can see straight through, so we know that the big goes there. And we'll pop that onto case. 2U goes over here. And the other thing we didn't get out was our little line of dots. Actually quite long. I'm going to grab that here. And I'm going to put that on quite... If you give it a little bit of tension, you'll find it'll be straighter. Not too much, because you don't want to stretch the stamp out, but enough just to make it reasonably straight. And you can always do it against the edge of a ruler if you want it really straight. And we're going to do that in the Emerald Envy. Go. There we are. So there is our tag. Put our ink away. And we want to grab one of the gold binder clips, which is here. And we'll grab our bag back, and then what we're going to do is hold on our tag with our binder clip, and there we go, we have our finished bag. So I'm going to cut this one here, and I'll be right back to show you how to do the peony gift box. Okay, so now we're going to move on to build the peony box. So first thing I'm going to do is build the outer box, and then we'll build the peony flower. So I've already popped everything out here to get it ready. So first of all, you need to assemble your box. So if you fold each of those in, and I believe it goes like that. So you put your two matching outer pieces in, then you just gently curl the other two flaps and they slide in like so. Okay. So we're going to turn that around, and then it gives you this plastic, I don't know what you call it, edge to go round it, which is actually its lid, and this just slides on. So we're going to fold that up, and then you slide, let's try it from this side, your box. There we go. So you just slide that in like so. And then that creates a nice lid to your box. I'm just going to slide it over just a metre or so more like that. There we go. So let's pop that to the side for now. We need, if I just bring back in, if you go back to the instruction page, it shows you how, so assemble your box, slide your acetate sleeve over, which we've done, and then we want to assemble our flower. And it says afterwards you'll need 54 centimetres of sequin trim and stamp your tag. So I'm just going to do those while the glue gun heats up. So 54 centimetres of our sequins, and I'm going to use these numbers that run across the bottom of my grid paper. Now 54 centimetres, it says, is equivalent to 21 inches if you're in the States, or where you get the imperial grid paper. So that's 40 and we need another 18. There we go. I'm just going to trim that off, like so. So that's that, and then we're going to stamp out our folded over tag. We just grab our stamps. So I've got all these pre-done from earlier. So we've got our spots that I've just cleaned up. I'm just going to straighten that out slightly. We've got our 3 ink pads. So this one recommends to use the mint macaroon, the basic black, and the tangerine tango. I've got my thanks, to you, and a big. And so now we're going to build up our tag. So this tag, you'll see, has a fold line, score line there. So I'm just going to fold this over while I'm working. And the great thing is I can turn it over if it all goes wrong as well. But that just shows me not to stamp onto that piece. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp my thanks in big in the middle first, which is in the basic black. Straighten that out for a second. So just remember, you're not looking for the middle of the whole banner. You're looking for the middle of the fold to the end of the banner, roughly. So we'll stamp down our thanks, like so. Let's give that a quick scrub. Then we want, that's the end of our black. Pop that one away. So now we'll do our mint macaron. And for that we want a big and 2U. So a big, check that out first, up the top here. It's very juicy because it's a new pad. 2U will go at the bottom. And then we're going to do our dots in the tangerine tango. So I'm going to ink up our dots. And we'll stamp them there. And we'll stamp them there. So that's our tag done for after. And we've got our trim done. So all we need to do now is assemble our flower. So I've popped out all the pieces we need, and just a couple of things that I learned. So you need 2 of the big tangerine tango peonies. You need 1 of the medium. Now when I was punching these out of the sheet, it doesn't look like there's any difference in size. But if I just grab my sheet, so these ones here are the bigger ones, and the ones that go this way are the smaller ones. Okay, so you need 1 of those. You need 4 of the mini peekaboo peaches. And then there's actually 2 different sizes of leaves, and you want 1 of each. So I've just been heating up the glue gun. If I grab the instructions to show you, it shows you how to layer your flowers here as well. So first thing I'm going to do is just grab my bone folder. I'm just going to soften them slightly so that they scroll up nicely. And if you do this, what it does is it breaks down some of the fibres in the paper. So when you want to fluff your flowers, they'll be a lot easier to do if you've pre-done this, and then you won't be pulling all your glue apart. Now the instructions recommend to use a glue gun, so I've got mine heating up here. But I think you could also use the Tombow glue, but you'd probably have to pause maybe between layers or fluffing. You'd have to give it a bit more time to dry. But you could also definitely use glue dots as well, because they're pretty strong. If you didn't have a glue gun. And bear in mind, you can now get cold glue guns. So if you've got young children like me, the pink one that I'm using is actually a cold glue gun. I have a hot one as well, but that doesn't come out while the children are. I'll leave the leaves for now. So the first thing I want to do is a dot of glue there. And you don't need much with a glue gun. So if you haven't used a glue gun before, it's very strong. And you can see how I can touch this straight away. And it's not burning me at all. That's because it's a what they call a cold glue gun. There we go. We put those down. then I'm just going to refer you back to the instructions when you're building these on your own. So when you use the smaller, oh, come undone. Hold that down for a second. I have to excuse us, it's a really sunny day here and my hay fever is back, so I'm trying not to sniff. I'm trying to use the tissue, but we'll see how we get. Right, so that feels better. So sorry, going back to that. So you want to alternate each time. So this time I'm going to put my small peony piece going in the opposite direction, so it'll be the same as your first piece. Just a dab of glue again, and we'll hold it down. And you just want to keep building this up. So a dab of glue, and then your next layer in the other direction again. And a very similar flower to this actually is coming out as a punch in the new catalogue. But it's a really lovely punch. I think you could use it for shells, you could use it for flowers. It's got lots of different things you could do with it. So as you can see, I'm just building up my flower, and because I pre-curled, it's already curling into a nice flower shape. And the great thing about hot glue, of course, is how quickly it dries as well. So you can see that I've already got a nice curl to my flower. So although I want to curl it up a little bit more. So the last thing I'm going to do before I finish curling it up is you get this black piece that's very similar. If you've got the Playful Pals, it's just a long version of what you can cut with that. Or if you've got the fringe scissors, you can do that. And you just want to roll it. So I'm just going to roll this around to create the centre of my peony. It takes a bit to get going, but you can see now it's just rolling up nicely. And that's another reason it says to use the hot glue. So if you did use Tombow, you probably would have to hold it there for quite a while, whereas you'll see in a minute when I use the hot glue. I'm just going to loosen it up slightly. And just before I glue it, because I don't want to stress the glue, I'm going to just pull out my stamens slightly. So I'm just flicking them gently, you can see here. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue in the bottom of this just to hold all the layers and the curls together. And I'm going to also just pop a little bit in the bottom of my flower here as well. And pop that in. Just hold it for a few seconds. Like so. And then what I'm going to start to do is build up my petals around it. So my inner ones, and then these ones. Actually, I'm just going to pull those two off. I think I'm just going to offset them. So they were crossed like that, and I'm just going to offset them slightly. That's another good bit about just using small amounts of glue. You can pull it off if you need to, like that. And we'll glue in the ends as well. Don't worry if you get a little glue tail like that. You can pull those off in a second. Just like that as it dries. I'll stretch and stretch and stretch. And I promise you, there we are, it's just broken off. So we'll fold up our peony. There we go. So let me grab the instructions so you can see how ours looks. There we go. So there's all our nice layers. And we've got our 2 leaves as well. So I'm going to place just a dot of glue on the bottom here. And we'll have our leaves sticking out. And then I'm going to stick this onto the piece of acetate. And I'm going to do it onto the plastic side. So there's plastic both on the top here where I've stuck it and on here as well. So this is a non-acetate side. And then I'm going to put a fairly liberal amount on the top here because it's going to stick to plastic. And you could use your sticky strip here or your tear tape if you didn't have the hot glue. Actually, it says to. Just having a look at this. Just going to turn my flower over for a second so it looks like the. Just trying to work this out. Yeah, so the sequins. You want to wrap them round. So I'm actually going to wrap them round on the big thanks side because I want them to come out by my banner. I'm just going to even it up, and you can always trim a little bit off, which I think I'll end up doing like that. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue down to make them stick, and some glue for our rose. Okay, and stick all of that down, and then I'm just going to snip my sequin end. And there we go. So that's your box. And there we are. It's got big thanks to you on it as well. And there's your little sequin ends. And because this is stuck on, so it might look loose, you could always tighten it up if you wanted to. But it won't come off because it's got that hot glue underneath. So that's another box done. So now we're going to move on to our third box. And we'll make this gorgeous little foiled spotty box as well. So just give me a second. Okay, so onto our little foil box down here. Now, one thing it does say when you read the instructions is that you need to fill the box before you tape down the mint macaroon fiddly pieces. So I'm going to do it all the way through for the purpose of this tutorial. But just remember, when you're doing it, you need to have your gift to put inside or not glue down the ends of your mint macaroon. But I'll show you what I mean when we get there. So we've got all our pieces laid out here. So the first thing I'm going to do is assemble our box, which is very similar to last time. So I'm just going to fold, because it's acetate, it's just a little bit stiffer. And there's some lovely window sheets in your catalogue. They're actually very similar to this, so you can cut out other things. So again, I'm going to have my two sides that are mirrored like that. Then I'm going to lay down my bigger piece and slot in the top piece like that. And then the top, again, I'm going to fold over my two edges and insert my lid like that. And just firm up your folds. It's quite stiff, it's quite sturdy. You could get something reasonably heavy in there. And we'll just pop that to the side while we assemble our other pieces. So you need one of the solid flowers and you need one with the holes in the top. Now you can go around and pop all the holes out. But something that, let me just grab here, that I found really helpful is my die brush. And if you just go over it like this, particularly when you've got doilies, with loads of these, you'll see that most of them have fallen out and you can just flick them. There we go. And it just loosens them. So if you've got the doilies, particularly with some of the new in-colour doilies that are coming, I would suggest that you invest in one of these die brushes. It will save you a lot of time. I'm just going to pop mine to the side for now. Excuse me. So like that. And then we want to assemble our bow. Now this is actually a bow very similar to the one, or exactly the same I should say, as the one you get in the Bow Builder Punch. And I'll just show you my assembly process. So I use glue dots. You could use hot glue if you wanted to. And first of all, I soften up my pieces with my bone folder. And this is particularly important if you're using some of the foiled or glittered cardstock, because you'll find it's very soft, very hard, and otherwise it tends to crack. Whereas if you soften it with this first, you won't get those crack lines. And that's just reasonable tension. Think of it when you're like putting the bows with the ribbon for your gifts. So the first thing I do is pop a glue dot on each of my bow loops. And I stick those together. That's it. Then I put another glue dot on one of the loops and stick it to the other loop like that. So you've got the first piece of your bow. And then I actually put one glue dot on there, and I put one on the other end. So although they're very close together, you can probably see on there. When I then, so I lay mine so that the two loops are between my two glue dots, and then I can tuck one under and the other under. And because of those glue dots, even if they don't meet perfectly like that, it doesn't matter, they're going to stick down nicely. So there's my first part of my bow. And then again, a glue dot on each of my bow tails. And with the bow tails, if you've never used the bow builder punch, you can do it in lots of different ways. You can put them down here like this, like a traditional bow, or you can put them more out to the side for a designer style bow. And for this one, we're going to put them out to the side. But you can experiment with yours. Fold that glue dot over, make sure they're even, and then we'll press it all down in the middle like that. Okay, the offcut. And then these two you just want to stick together, so I'm just going to grab a glue dot or two, and it looks like they have layered them, so each see-through petal is halfway between a solid petal, like that. Okay, you can see that that just sticks up, and then this goes on the top. Now, just because this is actually quite heavy, I'm sure a glue dot would be fine, but as I've got it out, I'm going to put a dab of my glue gun on there just to make sure it really stays down. And this is what it means about the mint macaroon. So mint macaroon little strips that come here, you get a large amount of them, and I've just picked a few off. Need to be stuck all the way around like this. However, if you stick them all the way down round like this, you won't be able to open your box to fill it. So for the purpose today, I'm going to do it, but you could just glue the top bit on and then leave it until you're ready and then stick it on. That's absolutely fine. But I'm just going to put a thin line of glue down the centre. And then I'm going to wrap it around my box. And this one will just be a display box. So bear in mind you get 4 of these in your kit. So 4 of each of the 4 design come in your kit. So it's great value. And then of course there's the coordinating stamp set available as well. I'm just going to put a little bit of extra glue on the bottom to hold it. Like that. Pull that out of the way. So you can see now I've wound my mint macaroon all the way around. Need to glue down a couple of the layers. So I've picked, I think it was 4 of the layers. You just need to glue the 4 ends down as well, like that, so that they don't come undone. I'm getting a bit spidery, but that's fine. And then what you want to do is, if you hold your join at the bottom with your finger, and then just go around and very gently fluff. And I suppose it's like a piñata style ribbon. You just fluff them up, and you'll find if you just keep going over them, each layer will fluff differently, and that's what gives you the really nice texture. I'm not going to do the bottom because I don't think it will lay that flat. Okay. So there we are. Then we want to glue our piece on top. So again, I'm going to use some little hot glue. I'm sure tear tape and glue dots would be fine if you haven't got the hot glue, but just bear in mind it will probably take a bit longer than this will. And then finally we need to do our tag. So there's a little hole in there which I'm just going to pop out. Like so. And I've got my For You stamp ready, and I've got my basic black here. I'm going to stamp that on. Peel that off. Pop out in that way. And then it says to use the black and white baker's twine to do it up. So I'm just going to grab a piece of that. And because you get 4, it's really easy to portion it out nicely. So I'm going to fold in half again. And then I've got my 4 pieces ready, so I can pick one out every time I make a box. And I'm going to pop that through. Easier said than done. Like that. I'm going to tie it on just so it doesn't fall off. And then it says to tie it through your bow. So you could either stick it on, or I'm just going to tie it here through one of my loops into the middle like that. And trim off my ends. And there we go. So that's our little For You box, which is really sweet. There we go. So hopefully you can see all of that. So now we're going to move on. Okay, so on to our final item, which is this cute little bag here. So I've got all my bits set out. And if you recall when we did the unboxing, I thought this was some kind of note card, but it's actually the inner for our gusset bag. So I'm going to pop that inside of here first of all. I'm going to open up my bag. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a couple of glue dots on the bottom, because when I offered it up earlier, I thought it's great, but it's never going to stick where I want it to. And if I pop them on the bottom, no one's ever going to notice them. Slide this inside. I'm going to fold it up, slide it right down to the bottom. I'm going to open it out so my seam of my bag is halfway across my bottom panel. Catch my 2 glue dots there and then stand it up. There we go. So that's your bag there. I'm just going to put that to the side. And then it's all about the decoration. So let me just grab our instructions, which will tell us, so our Happy Day bag. So we've slid the insert inside. We then need to do the banner, the sequin trim. We need 22.9, I'm going to say 23 centimetres. Remove tag, and we've got everything else. So 29 centimetres. So again, I'm going to use my measurements across the bottom here. So let's round about my 29. Snip that off. And knowing Stampin' Up, I'm sure there's plenty of the gold trim, so if you wanted to use a little bit more, I'm sure you would be fine. And then we're going to do some coordinating stamping on here. So I'm just going to grab my Peekaboo Peach. And we're going to do tone on tone stamping. So I've got my dots here. And I'm going to roughly stamp them. And of course, because these are photopolymers, I can see through them. So I'm lining them up. We just need to do our 2 ends. This little bit. So pop that on there. So it's a nice round and spotty pattern. We'll pop these to the side. Then we want to stamp our round tag. So I thought about this and I practiced on some scrap paper. So the best way I found to do it was to take the Emerald Envy, which is one of the new in colours. I'm not usually a green person, but I do like this one. Then excuse if my head comes in the shot, but I'm just going to, if you look straight over it, you'll find it a lot easier to line up with photopolymer. Because if you look from an angle, your brain doesn't necessarily compensate for that. So then you get your outer. And then, last of all, we're going to use our basic black to stamp our sentiment, which is Happy Day. And you could swap these sentiments out. So in the set, if I just grab it here, you've got hooray, kudos, thanks, gift. So you could put any sentiment you want. You don't have to stick with the ones in the instructions if that doesn't suit for your occasion. Then stamp your Happy Day in the middle. Peel it off, which I had pre-cleaned just to remind you of the photopolymers to just wipe them over your stamp and scrub before you start, and you'll get a better image. And we have our sequin trim, and it says to adhere to our banner, so I think my glue gun's still a little bit warm, so I'm just going to put a little dab of this, crank out as much as I can like that. Hopefully it hasn't dried just yet. No. If I can just squeeze out a tiny bit more. There we go. So that's ready like that. And then we want to stick on our Happy Day tag. Let's see if I can squeeze out any more. Wishes my Amazon man hasn't been this morning with my glue sticks. There we go. Stick that one down like that. And then we want one of these cute little Emerald Envy pegs as well. And we're going to take this, and you could fold over the top if you wanted to. I'm just going to fold mine back slightly like that. Grab my tag, and I'm going to peg it on like that. So there we go. So that's all pegged on. Hopefully you can see our pretty little bag there. So let me just grab all four. So you've got that one. So remember, you get 4 of each. You've got our peony box here. You've got our little spotty one. And you've got the bag that we did originally as well. So you remember, you get 16 projects in this kit. If you do come to a class, you can have use of my stamp set, or I'll be doing this as a package class to go when the new catalogue comes out. So thanks for bearing with me. I know it's a bit of a long one, and I hope you've enjoyed both parts of this, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy crafting! Bye!